Hello and welcome, Cosmic Quantum Travelers, for another installment of a Cosmic Quantum Energy Update. Cosmic Energy Update, but yeah, they are definitely quantum. And we have gone super quantum since we last spoke, definitely. And Monday, specifically speaking, last Monday. What's today? Friday? Saturday now, I think. Anyway, no time is the theme because we do need to transcend time and space and gravity in order to transcend 3 and 4D realities. Because if we want to be superhumans, this is what needs to be transcended. And our crystal avatar self, our 12D to 15D self, is timeless. It has access to all of your incarnational selves, all of your memories, full timeline access, and all of these timelines and all of our multidimensional selves, all of our incarnational selves, all of the dimensions, all of the timelines are merging into one, the return to oneness. And that's the key to everything, because oneness is equal to unity. Unity consciousness is basically the law of one. The law of one is based in unity consciousness, which means that you are another me. I want to treat you the way I want to be treated. If I hurt you, I hurt myself, because that's ultimately what it all boils down to. And that's what we are resolving here at the moment. And that's what we're really getting to the core of it all. Because with this huge karmic release for humanity, and the Phantom Matrix is done. Okay, it's literally done since yesterday, since the 5th. We're done. Okay, that was totally wiped, as in at a higher energetic level. And this is now completing. And there's a lot still integrating, especially the ones who've been part of the 9-day activation series of the Diamond White Flame Ascension activations. Thank you guys. You rock especially hard. You all rock. But thank you so much for your support, for being part, for the donations. Thank you so much. And we really shifted and cleared so much. We've stabilized the field. We stabilized the 0-point field. Mother Arc, Father Arc infusions since yesterday, the blue with emerald ray, and the Trinity Christ codes are flooding in all day today. So yesterday, as in the 6th, as Friday, European time speaking. So with yesterday's 5-5 gateway activation, huge diamond grid, huge crystalline core, huge diamond heart grid, rose heart grid activation. So human heart grid, like we as the people who took part in these activations, I could see how we were building this really beautiful, strong crystalline diamond rose network between us and interdimensionally. And it really is still there, because also for up until Sunday, so for up to 3 days, this is still very much not integrating and unlocking all that we have received. And again, just to explain, these are collective activations. So they come in anyway, so to say. I do this work every day. That's why I write what I write and see what I see. So I see this coming in and I share. Sometimes I get the guidance that I can open the field for a healing container for more frequency to be able to be anchored through us as a group, instead of just me doing it on my own or you doing it on your own or little groups or whatever. So together we can anchor in a lot more frequency. And because I have a Cosmic Ascension template, which holds a rehabilitation template for all the different tribes, so for all the different soul groups. And I just get the activations as one of the first people. And I have also interdimensional Stargate access, so we can get a whole lot more frequency in. It's all about the alignment and also the rehabilitation of the human blueprint, the whole morphogenetic field. So we are each time accelerating and assisting this. Okay, so it's like a chicken and the egg thing, okay? It's simultaneously. It's like what was first. It's like it's simultaneously. It's like a co-creation with source, okay? So getting the information of opening up the healing container, us then, you know, we have already pre-agreed of who's taking place and who's not. And also the funny thing is the people who might not agree with what I do or don't quite trust these activations or don't know about them, there still a lot of people are at higher soul level taking part. And it's affecting everyone because, again, these are collective activations. Whatever I do on my field anyway, everything I do is on behalf of all, literally. I mean, we all do this. Again, every time we heal ourselves, we help heal templates and the different traumas and themes, soul themes within the collective. And with me, it's like a kind of a master blueprint. So it's just vastly accelerated. So it's easier for you to pick up on it, and it should make it easier and faster to transition through these huge upgrades and activations coming through as we do this together and I hold the field. Okay, it doesn't mean that you don't have challenges, doesn't mean that this is all about bliss. It's not all about bliss. Each activation is different, for each person it's different, depending on what they've already healed and worked on. If there's more, there's more. Whatever needs to come up is coming up right now. Yes, it's getting more and more intense because it's two opposing energies. And what happens when you have two opposing energies, when they meet? You know, when you have conflict, that's what we're seeing a lot of. So we have this in all kinds of different ways playing out between the genders, the gender divides. These were a lot what the activations were also addressing, the whole reversals, gender divide, gender division, gender war, all these distortions within the field that is causing also the splits, because this is kind of the core of the split in the polarities, and then it got distorted. And what was I talking about? So anyway, a lot of Trinity CHRIST activations coming in that are addressing the reversals because it's based basically on a distorted polarity. Okay, so the old grid is based in distorted polarity, all right, a bi-wave, which is also represented by the Vesica Pisces, by the way. And the tri-wave, the new diamond grid system, is based on the Trinity wave, a Tribeca, okay, which is two circles with a third circle, and that unifies the polarities. So instead of them being at odds, there is a third energy, which is basically neutrality, and that unifies the polarities in harmony and in balance. Because you can't get rid of the polarity, there's a law of polarity, it's just that here it has been vastly distorted. And then you have the victim-victimizer software that runs basically all these artificial thought forms, the negative ego, which is really a set of artificial algorithms. So the key to it all is the oneness, which is the unity field, which is the tri-wave, whatever you want to call that. So I often use many different words because I don't like to get hung up on words. I like to try and unify and simplify things for all kinds of different understandings of different people who are watching. And yes, simplify the things, because I'm really focusing on the core of the issue, which is the consciousness, which everything else is built upon. All the geometries, all the maths, all the super fine details, okay? But we can really simplify things that most people will understand. And obviously we're here still in an advanced course, but most people who will connect with my work will be already very accountable and self-responsible, because I'm all about self-empowerment. I'm all about sovereignty, because that's what's needed in order to not have all the interference running anymore, and for us to dissolve the matrix now for each one of us, because the matrix ultimately is equal to false realities, inserted holograms, holographic inserts and overlays, and they actually equal false projections. So false perceptions, false thought forms, false programming, false behaviors, all this old us, the old realities, which are all inverted. It's based on reversals because they've literally turned everything around. That's what kind of the inverted consciousness of why everything seems so upside down. Okay, and it's also connected to this bi-wave. which has been running in the grid. So we're all a little bit bipolar here. Okay, so there's either the odds, because it's either right or wrong, good or bad, you know, all of this good versus evil. But how do you collapse the opposites? It's by taking the charge out of the polarities. Okay, and we do this each, as we've been practicing, and my last few videos were about, and I do recommend to people to go and watch them again and again, and either, you know, you can go back as well, and they're always helpful tips, because this is really the new consciousness which we're here to anchor, and you do need to repeat it, because it's like the old programming has been running for a long time, so it's a lot about repetition, in reinforcing new thought forms and behaviors. Also, that's what helps build new neural pathways. So there's been a lot of that going on, and a lot of that is in relation to the gender divide, because this is also, that's the core, and we're getting to the core of the core right now, and everybody's going to be triggered at the core, at least the ones who've already advanced enough to, you know, I mean, we've all looked at the core already. Okay, it's like the circle thing that you keep going, you know, well, it's more like a onion where you go closer and closer into the center of it all. But it's certain soul themes we all have. There will be certain overlaps, and they need to be healed right now fully. And they will come up for one last hurrah until we do not get triggered anymore, until we can see through the illusions. And the illusions are mainly down to the ego, the false ego illusions that make us feel separate from other people. Okay. Now, that doesn't mean we don't have boundaries, okay? But the separation is a core wound, because it actually goes back to us feeling separate from source. And that's what we're literally healing. And we heal this also through the twin flame journey, through any relationship we have and any conflict we have with the opposites, where we feel separate from one another. Because that's the opposite of unity consciousness, or the oneness, isn't it? Because when we feel the oneness, and anybody who's already had, like, usually on their ascension journey, at least once a glimpse of that, because these are the moments that keep us going. Because this is when you know truth, when you know love is the highest truth, and everything else is a distortion, because it's inverted thought forms that then create inverted and distorted realities. So that's what we have to heal. And everything aligns now. Everything is multidimensionally merging through us now. And it's really important that we forget everything that has come before, everything that we think we know, all of our beliefs, just hold on to them lightly, because the new consciousness, the cosmic consciousness now available, hasn't been available before. They're not written in any book out there. Okay, because it's all based in separation. It's all based in polarity consciousness. If we still feel separate from Illuminati and fallen angelics and our parents or the boss we hate or the people we miss, that's what we're healing right now. Okay, and it needs to come up and out to be healed and seen. Now, for me, it also came up, I mean, the last few weeks were no joke, obviously. I also had my daughter for a week, and then obviously had the activations, so that is a lot to hold, the 9 days, the field for that, really. This all takes a lot out of me, but we are now sustained by source, so I was able to do it, but still, you know, writing the daily transmissions as well, you saw they're very long, I know, but it is what it is. And there are activations in themselves. So, you know, and it also sorts out the people who just want some quick sound bites from the real, true ascension seekers. So anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so fuzzy brain today, that's also why I haven't written up yesterday's 5-5 gateway summary. It's again a pretty long post. I might do tomorrow. I might cover something today. I will cover something today, but not maybe all the details. So we will keep going with the flow. I might be all over the place, but that's just what it is. Our multidimensional service anchoring, the old Akash is totally being cleared. The false Akash, as I call it, as in the false memories, false history is totally being cleared. Okay, and backlogged, so it doesn't keep recreating the same distorted realities and fallen timelines. And that includes the whole phantom matrix. Okay, everything is based on thought. So go beyond what you think the architecture looks like. Okay, for now, we need to simplify at this stage to really get to the core. Oh yeah, getting to the core. So for me also came up, so the last few weeks were intense. We've been attacked, we've been trying to interfere with, rattled, triggered, right, left, and center, okay? And it's impossible to avoid because it's ultimately also something we still have running in our field that we need to clear. It's like a timeline, okay? Or it's like a hole in your field in a sense there, even if it comes through another person, that the lower consciousness attacks you, it still can get to you or gets you triggered only if you're not standing in your full sovereignty. So it will keep happening until we're totally non-fuckable with. And that's just what it is, okay? And we need to get out of victim consciousness, quite frankly, totally. Because that frequency keeps drawing that to us. And I had this as well. So my core wound is being attacked by the people that are close to me. And I know they're good-hearted people. And I can see it's like, you know, when I go for things, they become unconscious and this lower consciousness works through them. They have no spiritual awareness. And I keep being attacked for literally doing the right thing. I mean, it's literally the story of my many lifetimes, and it goes obviously beyond this. And many of us have this running right now. This is why this is coming up, okay? And I'm saying this as well. So it will keep coming up. And I didn't, like, when I was younger, I couldn't defend myself. Now it's like, you know, I used to get really, really angry. Something came up and, you know, different things happen. Sometimes you're calm. Then, you know, if somebody keeps triggering you at some point, yeah, you will snap. And don't let anyone gaslight you of like, oh, it's not spiritual to get angry. Yeah, if you poke the dragon long enough, it will spit fire and breathe down your neck, quite frankly. So, you know, if that's the last step, if I have to scream my head off for the last line of defense or whatever, fine. All right, I will not get physical, but also these releases of screaming and crying, especially Blu-rays, and those can connect with the Rose line and the Magdalene lines. It's highly alchemical work of us purging so many emotions, not just us women, obviously men as well. And especially men need to really like connect with their emotional body, because we're really clearing and healing the 2 and 4D split fully, and all the distortions, all the splits within the consciousness, all the fragmentation on all levels. It's all healing. Yes, everything is healing. And if you don't believe it, your choice. Whether you believe it is possible or not possible, you'll be right for yourself. I know what is possible, and God can heal all things. But are you a believer? Do you believe God can heal everything or not? That's your choice. We choose now. And free will be returned as full disclosure happens from within and without, as the halls of Amenti are opening now, our true tribal records returned, crystalline activations in the grids and within us. It's all unlocking. So expect a lot of memories to return now very quickly. This is all going to go very quickly now. The 9th has my special attention, but all of next week. But just take it easy now, today till Sunday. Let it integrate, let it unlock. I'm going to enjoy. We're going to have a little heat wave coming here, which is like maximum 20 degrees in Ireland. So it's hilarious. But we'll take it. So connecting with nature, with the sun. I need to relax after the last 9 days and way before that. And yeah, so, you know, my nervous system had to also recover after everything what was going on. I shared a little bit, just as a little update. So I could remove the toxicity from the situation. It needed to happen. Things need to come up and out. You need to move the energy, scream, cry, go chop wood, have a punching bag, or someone says scream into the pillow if I needed to, or punch the pillow. You know, you need to try and make it work without maybe alarming people if you live in too close encounters with others. So all of these things, but you need to get the energy up and out because it's stuck in your body. Okay, so things will happen in your reality in order to help you purge it. So it's a blessing. You need to reverse everything here because everything is in reverse. The easier this gets. Okay, the less resistance you can have, the easier it gets. Like I have a PhD in suffering and clearing, literally. I've done this over many lifetimes and literally a portal for negative entities to leave through me. I mean, yeah, we are. I am a planetary exorcist. Obviously, there's a lot of interference and attacks, what we hold. So it's part of the job description. And then at some point, you're just neutral. And from that neutral place, the shit doesn't get you anymore. And that's in the last stage when you just see the illusions for what they are and you don't take things personally anymore. And that's the key with interactions with others right now, trying to trigger you, okay? It's ultimately your tests of initiations, of fully aligning with your crystal avatar self who cannot be messed with. So we have to go through it in order to become unfuckable with. So thank it, say, yeah, this is a test, as if you go to school and say, yeah, okay, yeah, it's a test. See through the illusions, don't take it personally. Only your ego will take it personally. We need to transcend the ego because the ego is the artificial algorithm program. It's literally the matrix, okay, that you have running in your field that you need to transcend and burn the fuck down, all right, to get to the oneness and unity field, embody that, the tri-wave, Trinity, the Christ within, okay, run that in the grids, in your own grids, and that's the organic ascension reality ignited within you because it's here now. It's here. I can already see the changes everywhere. Okay, it's happening. So yeah, to come back, I shared about the situation. So I'm like literally in a 1-bedroom flat with my mother for over 2 years now. Wouldn't think it would take this long, but the thing is, so my journey started for people who are new to also my channel about 4 years ago now in June, and basically I split up with the father of my child. It was best at the time for her to stay with him. I went on my merry way, but literally with no income, 70 euros in my pocket. And then from one day to the next, I started sharing my journey. And ever since then, I've just have been from one day to the next, following the guidance of source, transcending my ego will, in order to become the purest conduit I can be, to transcend my ego, step away, and then bring the new consciousness and instruction sets for the consciousness, which is the morphogenetic field, and DNA codes and activations, and so forth, to you. But I had to sacrifice a lot. And the problem here, for example, in Ireland is I would have liked to have a flat at that point back then. And at one point, I also had enough money to have at least, the first month of deposit and rent. But the thing is, the housing market here is so terrible. I want to be in Dublin area where my daughter is. I don't have a car either. I can't live in the middle of nowhere. Public transport is not great here. And it's so expensive. And what's available at an okay price is absolutely terrible. You have problems with mold, old furniture, stained. It's, oh my God. It's literally, if you look at the housing market, like the websites, it's soul destroying. Literally, it just makes you feel depressed. So I'm not going to do this for the next 3 days. And I put a call out for, people, if they could, if they have, if they're able to give a donation to help me get money together for first month's rent and deposits, so at least, I'm one step closer to the goal and feel some hope somewhere. Because I've been doing everything on donation since October last year. So thank you so much for everyone to keep me going. And thank you so much for the superstars who came through and sent a donation. I know also not too many people have seen it. And I know also people have given donations for the activation. So thank you so much. And for anyone who still wants to give it, because I'm still some, money off to make it. And again, everything, it's just so expensive. It's literally incredible. Like, you need to imagine, it's like now 4 years later since I first started, and you have basically families with kids on the streets and in tents and not having a home. Oh yeah, and now you have We are taking in most of the Ukrainians, and now the government is saying everybody with a second home should vacate a house for Ukrainians. So that's nice. No issue as such in general, but what's with the people on the streets, you know? So then you can't come up with a solution like that, because obviously it's mismanagement of resources. And again, you know, there's no one to blame but our own. We need to then go back, okay, where do I maybe mismanage my resources, or, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So it's within a consciousness, okay? But besides that, here it's been a big problem. So the whole homelessness, wanting a home, it being impossible, because even getting a normal job still doesn't pay enough money. Okay, so it's like basically there was an article, you need now a 5-figure monthly salary to rent a 3-bedroom house in Dublin. And I looked, and it's true. Thousands. Anything nice up from 2,000 for 2-bedroom euros. And then you still haven't paid all the bills. And obviously electricity and everything is insane right now. So on 3-day paper, it's very far off. Unless I would go back in sales, where I had like twice a burnout, you know, which kind of also triggered my awakening in 2011. I'm not really going to go back to that, because obviously that's not what I'm here for. And I know that everything is going to change now. So even on 3D paper, there is like very little hope, because people with like 2 incomes, you know, couples with good incomes and professionals with a steady income, and references from their employers have a trouble getting placed, because the nice places also on top of this have then 30 to 40 people applying for them. Yeah, and everything else is pretty crap. So miracles it is, okay? And I know I'm not the only one, and it's a big problem in Ireland, and it's obviously beyond what it is, because it doesn't need to be like this. It's to do with poverty consciousness, it's got to do with greed, it's many things, okay? And I know it's a big thing for me to transcend this, because I mean, I checked out the whole, you know, social welfare part of getting help from the government, and that's like when you're homeless, for example, to register as homeless, as I kind of started off with, you basically need an address in order to register as homeless. That's how it's insane the system is. If you have any mental or addiction problems, you're basically on the streets, you know, and I don't know, it's like, it's just so insane. And basically, again, even if you're a good hardworking person, you still have problems getting a flat or a place. So, and I need space, I need peace of mind, and I know we all need to. And I know many of us are being squeezed with situations like mine, where it's like no one's fault, it's squeezing me on purpose. I know this is coming up on purpose, especially also with everything getting extremer out there. So the polarities can collapse in a 0-point field through us, okay? Through divine love, through seeing beyond the illusions, beyond the ego, beyond the conflicts you're playing out. Really, any conflict is something that needs to be resolved within you. Keep going back there, okay? I know we keep going back and forth between blaming and going back to I can resolve this with him, and it's both. You know, basically, we don't blame. It's not about blame, because that's the thing. It's not their fault or your fault. We need to get beyond the them and us and versing anything. It's ours. We resolve this together. And a lot of people find it very hard to stretch their consciousness that far of taking full responsibility for their realities. But we need to do the first full step. So as we fully step up in our power and rise up, so will everybody else. And I think we've seen this over the last few months happening now collectively. And again, we're done, but each one needs to now step through the last test of then when something comes up, you just don't take any bullshit, okay? But you do it from a place of you don't have conflict or, you know, aggression in your field either. Because, for example, if you're like a codependent type of person and you keep coming up to narcissistic people, it's your own narcissist that you still need to integrate, or your own aggressor, or your own victimizer. You need to integrate all these pieces. All of them are us, whether it's an Illuminati member or I don't care who they are. Everything is you. You cannot be separate from anything in order to merge within the oneness and unify with the organic essential realities from within you through your consciousness alignment with your crystalline consciousness, your crystal avatar consciousness, which is 12D and beyond, which is God source consciousness. We need to connect all the way back up. And this is beyond, we need to go beyond separation, no more separation in dimensions and universes and different earths. All unifies here right now through us as one. For so it is. Because that's a solution. That's the only way out of the dream, out of the false matrix realities. We are free now. We are free. Okay, but you need to take that last step into liberation, that last quantum leap. And it also is connected with you fully aligning with your true self, the avatar self, you choose God source self. Again, you need to transcend the ego, burn it up. It's self-realization, but as you fully aligned with divine will. And as I said on my journey, again and again, I had to put my own personal will, what I wanted last, and keep listening to the guidance. And it doesn't make sense to the programmed mind. No, of course not, because that needs to be transcended, the programs. I'm a reprogrammer. It's the re-encryptions. It's the auroras, the plasmas that are re-encrypting matter. And we are doing this as the consciousness of that. So stargates, realigning, opening, huge mother arc, infusions, crystal core activations, heart activations, hearts and minds wide open. Oh, interesting thing. So at the end of the 5-5 gateway activation, I stayed in the field until like midnight, so for 3 hours. And I woke up with like half of my face like numb, as if I went to the dentist and had an injection, like an anesthetic. And part of my tooth fell out, which already had some damage. So just a further push to the dentist. Okay, get the message. At least I'm not having any pain. So anyway, that was interesting. And it took a while for my feeling to come back. And then also, as I was, after I've gone to sleep later on, and I haven't been able to sleep until like 6 a.m. in the morning the last 2 nights anyway. But as I woke up to go to the toilet, but not, didn't stay up, went back to sleep. But anyway, massive pineal activation, like, and nausea, like really low. Oh my goodness. So massive activations, because at the end, I had a lot of, again, Mother Arc, Aqualine, energies coming in, Blu-ray, and basically it's like a pulsing that we're already receiving from Source and from the Aqualine Sun and Andromeda Galaxy. And really it goes all the way back to Source, because we're reconnecting with the Source flows and eternal God source flow. So eternal life flows, okay? Because before our energy fields were running on limited energy, a closed loop energy system, the Vesica Pisces based, which fed into a phantom matrix. And now we reconnect back to Source. So the staff codes fully realigned, which is our vertical alignment, back into Source and back to our true north, through the galactic center into Andromeda and the 7 higher heavens. And it also connects to ascension earth energies. But ultimately, it's all realigning. And we really like the huge activations also coming of the threefold founder flame, which is the 3 core emanations of the Godhead. And that's really the Trinity. Okay, and these are also TRINITY CHRIST codes that are coming in, although they have a different color emanations. I'm seeing them. So the TRINITY CHRIST codes I see as crystalline white, so it's a diamond white, gold, platinum. And obviously the threefold founder flame is the gold, magenta, pink, and blue, red. Anyway, so everything is activating, everything has been received, the blueprint reset is complete. It's all online, it's all in the field. So it's for the ones who take part. You always pick up as much as you can. The more often you take part in these remote activations, the more heals. It's layer after layer after layer. And it just accelerates the journey. It should make it easier, but it can also bring up healing, of course. Again, this is not just about feeling blissful. So what needs to come up be grateful for it. The more you can just let it flow and don't have resistance to the suffering, the more easy it gets to just let it flow, okay? And the more of us align, the 144 activations, okay, that are coming in very strongly is us, 144, the core monad, 12 times 12, okay, to align with the crystalline self, okay, the avatar self, the 12-dimensional self and Rishi consciousness, which is a pre-mental self, okay, and fully realigning it with source. It's really all one, because the one is the source. So it's us no longer feeling separate from source, which means we can no longer feel separate from each other, which means all that separation has to come up. Anything that's still there, okay? And it's for us to navigate as much as possible. And if we're the most conscious there, or believed to be so, we need to prove it and be the change we want to see in the world and drink our own champagne. Any advice you want to go to give to another person, integrate it a little bit more yourself, okay? Sometimes you can give totally neutral feedback, then usually it's nothing to worry about, but ultimately, and especially unsolicited advice, and especially when you get triggered, is something for you to further integrate. That's the easiest way to insert that which you want to see more of into the field of consciousness. Because that's how this works, okay? Inside out creation. Every time I've ever judged anyone, I always judge myself. I've tried this billions of times. It always comes back to it. Doesn't matter how much we like to differ. It's either an old part of us, old aspect, a current one. We might do it less than the other person. We're still doing it. They're just showing us, you know, that's how we can see what we couldn't see before. Or it might be a future aspect of us. Because if you can't transcend the judgment, believe me, you would end up embodying that which you're judging, okay, or resisting. That's their energies. And that's why this war within the consciousness, okay, that is happening, of course, on some level, but ultimately can only be won in our own mind, within the one consciousness that we all have access to, okay, because all inner conflict is projected out. And is peace now available? Really, huge 0-point field embodiment, stabilized, locked in and sealed, and it's here. I've been embodying it now for a few days, and it doesn't mean, again, that I can't like have a moment where I'll be loud. It doesn't mean that you don't have emotions. Far from it. No, I'm a master purger. If people around me suppress it, I need to bring it up and out. And you might relate to that, what I'm just saying here. So yeah, we will be the portals for these negative energies. It's like moths to a flame, okay? So just know it, smile at it in a sense, but also be like, no more. It's kind of both ends. It's like, okay, here, because I can take it. You know, when you send the neutrality removed from ego, the person who can't bear the pain, don't know what to do with the toxic sludge, and they're just, only thing they can do is just throw it at you, and you're like, okay, I can take it, because there's no one to be hurting left anyway. You know who you are. You've forgiven yourself. You transcended all that karmic stuff. Okay, you transcended it, and we transcend the karma by realizing nobody's really doing anything to anyone, although that is also happening. But we can fully transcend it only as we know we are all one, and we are co-creating everything as one. So it's not one by an eye for an eye until everybody's blind, but let's stop here and forgive one another, forgive the one self, which is everybody. And once you forgive yourself, you will be able to forgive other people, because you're actually unable to forgive others because somewhere you're still not forgiving yourself. It's just that you're suppressing it, and you're very good at blaming other people, projecting it onto other people. And that's the people who are having a lot of problems right now, who are very prone to projection and who don't have a lot of self-reflective, a lot of self-awareness. And all these pathologies and imbalances are coming up right now in the field. But we are here to hold a neutral space, because every time you would see if there's something coming up with you and another person, or, you know, situations, Every time you release your resistance to it and your judgment, it heals in the other person and it heals in the collective field. And it's happening so quickly now. It's totally quantum because we are resolving this from within a one consciousness. And the more you are aware of what you're doing and the power you hold with the keys and codes you carry, because we are here to shift the blueprints. We're here to create the new templates, the new ways of being, because they haven't been invented yet. That's the work I'm doing. I'm, getting the activations and the trials and so first. I work through them and then, okay, here I tested it out and then I share it with you guys. Okay, because it's been tested out by me. And obviously always take what resonates, leave the rest. Because what works for me might not work for you. Okay. So, but every judgment, every trigger is an opportunity for you to integrate another aspect of you, which is absolutely necessary in order for you to multidimensionally merge with your higher aspects. You need to integrate all of it, which is everything, which is all that is, which is the oneness, which is source, which is everybody, especially the ones you hate most. And obviously hate and love also are very close to one another. So there's a lot releasing right now. Just keep pulling back within, as well as putting people in their place. Right now, there's very little kind of tolerance for bullshit, where it's like straight away, no, 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 because it's both ends. It's like, yes, I can take it. There's no one, you can offend here, and any negative energies, sludge, demons sent to me, they go back to source quite easily right now and just dissolve in our field. Okay, and once we transcend the fear and resistance to that happening, for example, people attacking us, then you can deal with anything and everything. That's the heart healing right now happening as well, these heart activations. It's like a twin flame configuration in your heart center. It's the heart healing. A healed heart is an invincible heart because nothing another person says to you will be able to hurt you. Once you healed yourself, you're whole, and no projection of another person has anything to do with you anyway. And anything that's been projected, that's triggering you, it's your own deepest, darkest subconscious that you're here to then say one last time, no, I do not believe you. No, I'm not this person. I'm not what you're trying to tell me I am. I'm not, because these are voices from the consciousness right now popping out, trying to remind you of what you've been told as a child or in other timelines of who you are, which are projections of other people. So know thyself is so important. That's why shadow work, really going deep within and sitting with it all, is absolutely key. Okay, you need to go deep, deep down into the consciousness in order to resolve it. Because this is not just about feeling good, obviously. That's called spiritual bypassing. All right. This is not about when we say, it's all about loving yourself. It's not about telling yourself, I'm great, whilst you look past your own, areas of improvement. It's about in any of these interactions, it's like, okay, here, this is for you and this is for me. We always can integrate more. This is always fine-tuning. Nobody is perfect. Humility and vulnerability go a long way. And this is really what all of this is about. And also transparency. There's nothing to hide. That's why I speak very openly about really anything and everything. And we learn most through our relationships. And this is actually where it goes back to. Now, let's get to the core of the core. So where has the split happened? When we see, it comes back to distorted polarity consciousness. So first there was polarity consciousness, which is, we go back to actually, because this is what's healing also, is the androgynous blueprint of the human, which would be masculine and feminine, like a hermaphrodite being that we used to be. And then we were split in two. And I remember a memory that I had myself of feeling that split, of being split with my twin flame and feeling that split with my masculine. And most horrendous pain ever. But this is not really where the problem started, or this is the core of the problem. But really what it came back to is that actually what I'm seeing is it's competition and jealousy of the masculine, like from the masculine to the feminine. So the masculine was, and you can still see it's playing out, jealous of the feminine for her access to source, because she really represents the Holy Spirit within a Trinity. If you see the Holy Father, Holy Son, Holy Spirit, it's the feminine. She has the access. She is the staff. So she has the vertical access to source. And he needs her to get the access. The same as with having children that we can also see playing out there. It's, you know, for a woman, that's the organic way of life. We need to protect it. And we need to also remember that men also, you know, incarnated men right now have a womb, because as I have been a man in other lifetimes, the men have been women in other lifetimes. So we both have all of these sexual organs, and we are returned to our androgynous energetic form. But this is also connected to the twin flames, because they, again, this is where the split and the distortions happened when things went wrong between them. And obviously this, because ultimately it's a split within a family unit. Okay, because only when the family unit breaks and is not solid can infiltration divide. And this is what we're seeing. And the family unit, mother, father, child, is the Holy Trinity. That's the core template that we're coming here back to repair. And it goes back to the masculine and feminine. And they then, as they heal within each of us, divine union within, we rebirth ourselves in our divine innocence as the divine child. To heal the masculine wound of feeling not enough. The feminine is the masculine is the child. It's like the chicken and the egg. It's not even who was there before, like the masculine, like, you know, having a rib cut out, and then the feminine has been created from that, or the feminine birthing the masculine, although that would be the closest to the truth, really, that way around. But ultimately it happens at the same time, because it's like the chicken and the egg. It's quantum. One doesn't exist with the other. You can't have a child without, you know, masculine. And I believe Immaculate Conception would only apply if you fully have unified within the Trinity. Okay. Anyway, so what we're healing here is really the twin flame divide. It's the masculine feminine divide. It's the gender divide. And that's what's coming up right now. And I heard something earlier about, you know, this whole Johnny Depp and Amber Heard thing. And usually I don't really mention much about, you know, the distractions out there. But ultimately, beyond it being distractions, and I mean, it's many things. It's Hollywood going down and totally like falling apart at the seams, plus like the whole, you know, people adoring these kind of people, seeing that they are kind of more damaged than most of us and need a lot of healing. And then also it's really displaying the distortions within the consciousness and relationships and the gender divide and war. And instead of seeing it as it triggering trauma, although it does that, but ultimately what it's helping is it's rather a symptom or a symbol of it clearing in the field. This is why this is coming up. Because it has to be seen, the distorted masculine and feminine, the false father and false mother archetypes have been clearing. We have been clearing them from our own templates, from interacting with others, to return as our cosmic embodiments of divine father, divine feminine. Because these are all the energies that we have to obviously unify to come to divine union within, which is ascension. Okay, and it's us rebirthing ourselves in our divine innocence again. And it's us really return to our original cosmic androgynous blueprint. And this heals everyone and everything. That doesn't mean, you know, we're going to still stay in our bodies, but that's why also it does come back to also the twin flames as I see it, because they were a core set of 12 and 24 twin flames. Plus one. So it's not just the 12, it's actually 13. And that's another thing. When I talk about 144 strands of DNA or subharmonic strands of DNA plus 3 as one, it is because the Trinity was missing from the 144. If you have 12 times 12, which is the maths base, and now this won't make sense to everyone, okay? But I'm going to say it for whatever it's worth. But basically everything is based on a 12 pointed tree and 12 based maths. That's what it should be like, okay? Instead of some of the tree of life or the Kabbalah tree of life out there, which is 10 pointed, okay? This is basically representative of the kind of distortions within the templates, and us not, you know, the stargates basically in Lyra blowing up and us not losing stargate access to stargate 12 and so forth. So basically the 12 is the base maths, and that is true. So we should usually have actually 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on each foot, and that would be our original blueprint. But the 13, the feminine, is also connected to the mother agates, which is bringing down the Aqualine frequencies. And this is also connected to the crystalline core activations, which is returning really the blueprints to its original form, and it's sealing everything, okay, in all the artificial realities and matrices and technologies and so forth. So, and these mother arc stargates basically got activated huge yesterday, and these refer also for me to the number 13, to the divine feminine, and there's a huge return of this. Obviously, we also know about the 12 zodiac signs, which should be 13, should be 13 months instead of 12, okay? And there's also one where we have the Katara, which is basically this 12-pointed tree of life geometry. That also, I know one picture I shared once, which has a 13 point just above. And that 13 point is really 13, 14, 15. It refers also to 13, 14, 15 strands of DNA and 13 to 15 dimensional frequency bands, which are pre-matter. So this is also the Rishi consciousness, which we are merging with and accessing now, because this is what needs to be healed and accessed, because we hadn't had access to it before. It has all been distorted, all the consciousness we had access to before. We hadn't had access to the true truth before. It just hasn't been possible. And we're looking at everything from a 3D fragmented mind based in polarity consciousness. So again, the solution is, so the 13, okay, just to finish this, so the 144 subharmonic strands is plus 3 as 1. It's 147 as I'm being shown it, but it's also still, you know, the divine template of the 144. But the 3 we're missing, because this is the core Trinity tri-wave, or the core 3 fractals as well within the DNA that it keeps coming back to. That's what I'm being shown. Okay, take it for what it's worth. I might one day be able to explain it better. You know, a lot of the information I receive is really high dimensional and it's quantum, and I'm literally trying to translate the best I can. And as soon as you put it into words, quintessence gets lost, and well, just, you know, you can't translate it. Things get lost. As soon as you use language, things get separated, you know, you, me, him, them, past, present, future, all of that. So anyway, I try our best. So we are literally have now received all the keys and codes, the blueprints restored, the source codes, which the 3 for me relate to. Okay, it's the core 3 fractals. It's also related to triple helix. I've been shown this years ago, and I was shown this again. The triple helix is the key also. So you have 4 times 3 triple helixes coiling around each other, the core of the 3 as 1. Okay, but also what I'm seeing is it's really all of these different fractals. And once, you know, you can fractalize it out to 144,000 strands of DNA, and further and further and further. It's really infinite. Okay, and then come back to 1. And that's what it is. We're really unifying all of this as 1, whilst we also stay in separation. As in, we are sovereign in our own self, as well as 1. Okay, so it's unifying all of these consciousnesses in one field, in one coherence, but where everybody is still their unique expression of source. But there's no more conflict between the different fractals within the consciousness, the DNA, clearing all the reversals and the codings. You know, it's all representative, and the same for the different dimensional spheres, because the distortions again have been everywhere. And this is not just about 5D, we're going way beyond. Again, we're going past all the mentalization of even dimensions, because what I'm seeing is an organic creatrix field. Now, I think I spoke about this before. You can go back to the other videos. I'm going to try, I don't know how long I've been, but I'm sure it's been long enough. So I'm going to try and get to the core of what I still want to say, if there's still something to say. So expect a lot of memories to come online as the tribal records activate from within our DNA, huge DNA activations, plasma body activations, let them unlock. Keep connecting with this, keep dropping into the silence, connecting with your own inner wisdom, because we are here to return the wisdom. It's within us, especially within the rose line. Okay, we are here to return the wisdom, the true tribal records of humanity. Okay, and they're going to be unlocking now. So let it all go, open up, connect in silence with your own inner wisdom, ask, and you shall receive. Okay, and with all the interference lifted now, you can see so much clarity coming aligned, so much synchronicities. Nobody can avoid wanting to know the truth anymore, because with all the interference lifting and all of the false matrix overlays and the veils, it's literally, it's now just going to disappear very, very quickly. The more we can see through the illusions, the more of us can do this, the more of us activate, the more of us fully align, 100 monkey effect, and then it just, everybody will be affected. Okay, we are the ones who hold the blueprints. We are here the ones who shift the consciousness. We're here as serial programmers. We are here to make the change happen by being the change. And important, loneliness leads to oneness. So a lot of us have been through a lot of, also the itching, just quickly, it's actually crystals activating. I've been given this information just before. Because I was asking, so why? Because as I was getting ready for the video, I was starting to itch, and then I was asking, so what? Why do I itch when I'm doing the video? It's like, because it's crystalline activations coming in. Like before I, connect, there's always a certain frequency that needs to be running for me to make a video, and there are always activations coming in with it, and I always set up the field of everybody watching to get, bathed in source frequencies, because when you're watching, you basically, your whole field will just listening to me and my voice, which is also very healing, and my field will help your field to balance, harmonize, and upgrade more easily. Okay, so it also gives you the keys and codes, not just the information where you might be zoning out, but it's a frequency that you're receiving, okay, which goes beyond the words where we're going now. Telepathy is vastly heightened as well. Inner and outer crystalline technologies are coming online with these crystalline activations. The grids are beaming. Yeah, it's like it's done, but we're still making it happen. But like now, it's really like the joy will start. I'm gonna have a few days just relaxing time now until Monday, and then I'm just gonna get some of my stuff here sorted, kind of get ready to pack and move, even though I don't know where to or how it's going to happen, but I'm just going to be like, it's already done. And as if you're just planning for the future, or, whatever comes in as ideas, not even about the planning, but I also want to have my masculine step in more, and I do more planning more, and there's some ideas coming in that before also weren't ready. That's another thing I just wanted to mention. One of the reasons why I haven't done a website yet was that, first of all, I hadn't really any sessions to offer and so forth. It was also about, how do I define what I am? I do many things, I am many things, plus all the information is and was still coming together. But now it's getting very clear of, also what is next, because that's what's coming in. So any website I would have done until now wouldn't have been relevant anymore. But let's see what comes in now. And I already found a platform I can use, at least in the meantime, even before I would have a website. So there are definitely things coming online. I can feel new ideas. I mean, I've been shown visions of the future a while back, so I don't think the main theme is changing much. And I really feel next week is going to be super awesome, and already a lot of miracles are coming in. And again, I'm just going to be speaking, thinking, feeling, acting as if all my dreams have already come true and I'm fully aligning with that reality and that frequency. That's what I'm being shown I need to do now. And we do this by being always fully aligned with that. For those who are not doing that yet, all of you at all times needs to be aligned, as in we don't, like, we adjust depending on who we're talking to with, you know, our crazy talk, so to say, as Max would say. Like, he would sometimes ask me, can you ever turn it down? And like, no, sorry. Like, I can just not switch it off, okay? And some of us who live and breathe this 24/7 are the same. But for those who are still kind of doing a little bit of hobby spirituality, as I want to call it, where you're like kind of one person at work or maybe one person with your family, but you have a private profile on Facebook that your friends and family don't see, you have to align that. If you want to ascend, you have to break through all that programming, because we need to be now fully aligned with Div Crystal Avatar, who's not afraid of anything, whether you get ostracized, your own family disowns you, your own children don't want to know about you and laugh at you for what you talk about. I don't care what it is. Whether you lose your job, you need to still enfold truth. Now, it doesn't mean that you need to like throw it at people. I'm just saying you don't lie, and you're standing your highest truth at all times with everyone. Not being afraid, because what I could feel, what's coming back to, was whenever I, like me standing in my highest light, shining my brightest self, triggers the shit out of people. And that's why I keep a lot to myself. Because again, that's a core wound. And it's happened with me, my own beloved things. I'm kind of infiltrated or distorted. And I don't know if you still think I'm working for the NAA, negative aliens. But you know, that's the shit we have to deal with because of other people's like unacknowledged shadow aspects that they throw at us. And it's also their own, you know, unconscious allowing then those energies to work through them, but it's also us, okay? It's our own unacknowledged shadow aspects and deepest subconscious that they're representing back to us. And that's what's the crazy part. But yes, it does hurt, of course, but until it no longer hurts, it will keep happening, okay? But you also need to say no. You just, because it's you on some level, having believed that because people kept telling you, projecting their own shit at you, okay? And at some point you believed, oh, something must be wrong with me, must be my fault. No, you need to be very clear of whose is whose. And just because somebody does something stupid or whatever, doesn't make them a bad person. You need to also detach from the action from what the person is, okay? And again, all these distortions within the consciousness and the fragmentation is healing now. And we really need to just put ourselves in the other person's shoes in order to heal those fragments within the consciousness and see, connect with us. This is our superpower of healing. Like, that's what I've been tapping into. That's how I'm healing at the moment. It goes way beyond talking, writing. It's in the field. I can tap into what is at the core, what people can't see, and I'm healing it just by tapping into the field, into the one consciousness and resolving it there, by understanding it. Because it's a shift in consciousness, which is ultimately healing us, not time. And we need to forgive now, because the forgiving is the depth forgiveness, the final part. And that's our abundance, and it's all connected. And us standing in our full truth, okay, not afraid what anybody says or does. If we have stones thrown at us, if people like spit at us, I don't care what it is, all right? We need to fully align with our crystal avatar self. And then when there is no more frequency in our own field running that is afraid of attacks or resist attacks, that won't keep coming up, because you totally dissolve them in the field. Even if somebody comes up, it just go, ah, and it just dissolves, because you're not fighting it. Because you will see only conflict comes up when there's something in your field that actually needs to be released. Okay, otherwise there would be no conflict. You could stop it right there. You can't have a fight with someone who is not playing the game. And that's what needs to stop right now. We need to stop playing the game. So stop being a victim, let it go, embrace the victim. I need to embrace, like, I'm really, I do a lot of work. I always do my best. I'm not perfect, never said I would. But I've taken a lot of shit, many lifetimes, you know, and we've been killed and murdered and hunted down and raped for being who we are, for shining our light, for standing in our truth, in our wisdom, and doing our healing. No more. So we say no more, but they can also not hurt us. And then it stops. Okay? And that's where we're at now. So I hope this has helped you to get that too, because each needs to do it. The activations help a lot, but obviously everybody still needs to make the decisions themselves. Everybody needs to, the ascension portal is wide open. The gates to the higher heavens are wide open. It's open. We're going to remember now. And another big thing that will come up is false prophets. They will be revealed for who they are. I think we will just remember. And it will become very obvious who's in distorted form. Basically, especially like when it's maybe healers or, you know, other spiritual leaders out there, if someone is in a really distorted, still needs a lot of feeling, which now doesn't mean that they're that there's something wrong with them as such. That's not what I'm saying. But you will need to see, or you will probably see this now quite clearly, because the way of what they're saying and their perspective will be distorted. Because if you still have a lot of trauma in your feeling, not a feeling still to do, you do not have the right perception. Everything is being clouded by your trauma because you're constantly being re-triggered. So if like Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trigger you, you obviously still have a lot of that gender divide within you that needs to be healed. Like I have literally no interest in that stuff. But obviously it's coming up. I see it as a positive sign because it's clearing. Anything that ever comes up, that's how you can reverse everything. It's like, and it's clearing, you know, it's a good sign. If you can give gratitude, even if you feel really bad and it's not fun when we go through it, okay, it will move more quickly. Like gratitude shifts it. Like when I go through the worst, I usually say, thank you, thank you, thank you, even if I need to squeeze it out of myself. Because it focuses me again, and like I'm knowing, okay, this is happening for me. I'm co-creating this. No more victim energy. That finishes the game. Then you hold the 0 point field, the tri-wave. That's you holding the new earth realities, okay, and overriding the bipolar energies and this bipolar wave in the fields, okay, in this victimizer consciousness and the gender divide. All right. So polarity integration is what divine union is all about, what ascension is all about for all of us. And everybody helps us with this, integrating all the pieces. And now we integrate and merge all of that, align all of us with that. That's how we quantum merge with the organic realities. And it's already done, like as in fully aligned and available now, fully active. But you still need to align with that reality as well, yourself. Everybody still has a choice, okay? But it's becoming very clear because all that doesn't make sense, all the inverted consciousness, it's resolving itself, it's collapsing in on itself because it doesn't make sense, because it's inverted. So we are here to shine the light, bring the sanity to the situations in the consciousness, okay, and get very clear, because when we have the clarity of frequency, which has no doubt of what's, you know, have the clear overview of what a situation is about, the bigger picture, that cuts through all the bullshit and all the lies, manipulations, and it just dissolves all the false realities, because the false realities are based on false versions of ourselves, on a false ego, artificial algorithms, artificial programming, all the bad programming, that's all clearing, okay? And we will remember our true history again. It rises from within. We'll remember again. And yeah, and false prophets, false leaders, healers, teachers, gurus are going to be exposed. And I'm going to be happy to see that, because it's been a big theme for me and all of us. And I know there's a lot of, you know, things, who can we trust, who can we not trust? Ultimately, I mean, any one of our ever was connected to, you know, most of them turned out to be distorted. And I've learned from them a lot. It's a great school of learning. That's what I needed. So everything is always still ultimately working out for you. Hasn't killed me. Maybe in other lifetimes it has. But that's how we learn. Okay. And it's the only way to learn, is through experience. And fortune favors the brave. You have to experience in order to learn, because it's something different if you learn something from yourself, for yourself, or remember yourself, or have an experience yourself, than reading it in a book. very different. This is what this is all about. Us realigning with source ourselves, no middleman, guru, teacher needed at all. We don't need ascended masters, guardians to connect to. We are the guardians. We are here to connect to source. That's how we retrieve cosmic consciousness, not by connecting to any other way, okay? Doesn't mean we can't listen to one another, but we are all equal here. And we're also equal with source. It's just that we cannot embody all of source in our little bodies, but we can connect to source consciousness in the cosmic mind, which is here and available now. So thank you so much for the ones that were part of the activations. I will have to, I guess, because I haven't mentioned the details of what happened on the 5-5. But again, massive grid activations and crystalline heart core activations are in the next stage. And I feel there's something more that's going to happen before the final event now. There's something else going to trigger first, but I can't see it yet. So for now, I'm just going to relax. I'm going to embrace the uncertainty. Again, at any moment now, anything can happen in the quantum, depending on the people, what anybody decides, anything can always shift and change in any moment, okay? These are quantum realities. We're not linear anymore. So go beyond time. We play with time. There are coordinates, but that's all that is. We've gone fully quantum. So transcend time and space if you want to go quantum and transcend these lower realities. And just one more thing, so it's the very definition of the shift that we're moving from distorted polarity consciousness to unity consciousness and cosmic consciousness. And that equals the organic ascension realities. So as we align with that consciousness, we align because that consciousness had on our morphogenetic field as the instruction sets, okay, and in our DNA, but we need to align with that consciousness, all right? So transcend your ego, let it burn, keep opening up your heart and mind wider, keep aligning, and the more of us do this, we are reaching the magic number of the 144, and then it's basically just gonna roll out to the whole collective, all right? And it's already happening. So let's see how and what exactly is going to play out, but from here on in, much easier, okay? It's literally now just flooding the field with diamond white light and all the other beautiful rays, and obviously huge Mother Arc activations happening, but we are in charge of the stargates, we are in charge of the field. There is nothing to fear of any attacks or takeover on a big scale, okay? So just keep clearing, keep integrating, keep unlocking, keep listening for guidance, always be aware and awake, all right? Again, in the quantum, anything is always possible, but just relax, because literally we are golden, quite, and diamond, quite literally. So thank you so much for your support. I'm going to leave the details to the my PayPal details in case you can support me, because again, at the moment, everything I offer is really for everyone and for free. So thank you so much for your support and liking, sharing, subscribing, if you find this useful. And I might also be sharing more videos from now on, because there's just a lot out there of misinformation and distortions and the false kind of people talking a lot of BS. So I'm being guided. I need to just bring in more truth in all of us. Okay, so the more truth we can bring into the field, the better. But also what I'm being guided to do is focus more on me now, because I've been focusing on getting this collectively done. And now that the big work is done, I'm also going to be focusing more on me. I need to relax more. That's also the pole shift, okay, from service to others to also service to me, which obviously is always service to all. Okay, I just want to say it's not one or the other, it's service to all. But from time to time, the balances need to shift. And I've been giving so much for everyone who was willing, you know, to connect with my work. But now I also need to see, okay, where do I stand here? Because we need to value our work as well. And obviously, my work is valued on other levels, and it's not to be valued in money anyway, but it's, and I hope money is going to be gone sometime very soon. But until then, we also need to value what we do and find ways to support ourselves, which obviously I also want to do, and then become maybe a little bit more organized and be able to offer what I do in different ways, because there's just so much coming online now. There will also be new mission upgrades coming online. So again, there will be more ideas coming in because it's your ancient future self. So all your gifts and abilities are coming online with the DNA activations, and you're remembering again, and then you're bringing all these pieces of your multidimensional selves together, which you have never been able to do before in that way, in a physical form, to then come up with something totally new, which is kind of your old self still, but it's just, it's always expanding and fine-tuning anyway. But, and again, we, do not just do one thing. It can be many things that we can combine in very playful ways, but definitely the playfulness is returning, relaxation, peace on earth is here now. We are here to anchor this and to be the emanation of this in the embodiment. So be the change, enjoy the joyful creativity, which is the child reborn with neutrality, rebirthed in the divine innocence, because these new realities are now online. So have fun. Until next time, thank you for listening. I hope this helped. Many blessings, so much love. Bye-bye.